but I know that I'm not well versed in the entire space of all these open tools and how each of you may be using some of these tools to provide training. Are you using Slack? The gentleman was asking a question about slides. Are we using Google Slides? Is that a method to pull in slides from different other platforms into an overarching umbrella? So I'm opening it up to the floor, and I would like to hear your tools or open technologies, platforms that you're using within your teaching environments, and why you're using them, how they're contributing, what the uptake is like, the feedback from yourself or your students. Yeah, there's a couple of microphones in my room. So for example, who uses Slack in workshops? I use Slack in my work environment, but not in a workshop. You do. Okay. Yeah, I would encourage everybody to go to the microphone just so we can extend our voices to the back of the room.
Not exactly in a workshop, but we have a course over the year in the master students where they sequence, annotate, the cell genome, and there we use Slack. Oh, okay. So they select the topic for annotating the pathway, and also they share figures there, and they can also ask questions to the trainers and so on.
So it's good for longer term activities.
I only use it there. I cannot say it's bad for other things. Yeah. It's good for this.
Yeah. Okay.
And how do students feel it?
It's addictive. As usual.
We don't use Slack, but we use Google Groups. So we create a group. We have an in-depth NGS analysis course, and so we put everyone from all of our classes that have taken this course together, where they can openly discuss issues that they run into.
I don't think so. It's ongoing. Well, we can. If that took your NGS course,
this list
be added
doesn't do anything.
year, we add more people.
Shall we try?
And so all of our experts are also
we can add.
Cool.
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, we can add photo.
And so sort of the faculty respond to questions, or and how does that interact with BioStars, for example?
I think it's okay. If it's required, they will take it. Otherwise, they will leave it.
So people that might be a little too hesitant to pose the question to BioStars, or they're worried that that image is already answered and they're not able to find it. It's more of a safer space for them. So we tell them about BioStars and sequences and one so they can search and look for answers. But then we also give them a space where they can try and answer others' questions as well. And so we have students answering other students' questions, but then also our core can answer questions that other people might not be able to address.
Great. That's a really good suggestion. Really good suggestion. Because we often get questions about, well, how do I ask questions beyond the workshop?
Right.
It's a neat way to ask them. Please.
We do something similar with our kind of some school and some of our other courses as well as a Google Doc or a Zoom document. So we use it to encourage the participants to take notes and to collaborate with each other, and a way for them to add their details in so that they can continue to network after the course as well.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, software technically uses a particular tool for BioStars. As a living document for the workshop. Any other uses for Google aspects on things? Does Google Slides address, because you can pull in, I mean, I don't know, I've never tried pulling in the tech slide decks into Google and how that might facilitate things. And I got an email from Adobe that you can convert your PDFs to PowerPoints. So Adobe is recognizing the uselessness of their PDF files in recreating content. But
the issue I have with PowerPoint is that it's, if you want to create anything more than just white slides with some text and some images, then it gets out of shape quite quickly. So it's not nice material. What I had in mind really, and I don't know if you're asking me, then I can talk about it. So I use a lot of teaching using the IO slides package in R, which is fairly nice, but fairly useless outside of R, unfortunately. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. Simple markup language, vision control on the material, and easy integration. But I don't think it makes sense probably like teaching people to force Markdown when you can actually get everything using big as they're used to is probably, well, there are probably better ways of advancing science than trying to convert other people's mindsets.
Yeah, and I think this is why I bring up Google Slides, because there's an inherent version control. You can always go back to the history. You can pull in slides from different sources of material. I've just not explored the pulling in from our experts, etc. But anyways.
If you're converting from PowerPoint or the like, then you lose half of the animations or stuff. Some of the settings. I think it's probably practical.
We shouldn't be using animations, period. No, we shouldn't. They render poorly.
Tell it to John Sharp this morning, right?
Yeah, I know. But I think his are embedded videos. Anyway, maybe. I agree. It's difficult. We need developers.
You asked a question about pulling other Google tools where you can put class material. So we use Google Classroom for a couple of courses, and we found that's kind of like an alternative to, I guess, the GitHub in a way, because in the Google Classroom you can actually kind of like put links to your Google Drives. So we end up like storing a lot of our course material in Google Drive, and then have them linked on a Google Classroom forum. And we found like for kind of novice bioinformaticians, they found that quite helpful in that it helped them to find the files, because it's Google Classroom integrates kind of a Google community forum with kind of links to Google Drive. So a lot of students will post comments or questions about like, how do I find this file? Where do I go to access this tool? So that can be all integrated into Google Classroom. Whereas, I mean, we also tried GitHub as well, but I guess people can't really post on GitHub. So like if they have trouble kind of finding something or pulling something, they find it kind of difficult to kind of ask questions to GitHub.
I never heard of Google Classroom. Did anybody, am I the only one who didn't know about this? Okay, I learned something new today, thank you.
So we use something a little different, and this won't be applicable for everybody, but for the NGS AR Unix courses that we teach, we've been converting all of our lectures into Markdown format and specifying all of the theory within the text that we teach off of. We found this is a lot better for students with retaining retention. So when we teach, when we used to teach on slides, students would try and come back to the slides, but a lot of the theory is really complex. And to make a good presentation, you don't have a lot of you have a lot of visualizations and not a lot of text on the slide. And so having it in Markdown format has allowed us to provide all of the text where they can go back and read about all of the theory on their own time. And so we kind of like software carpentry or data carpentry. We've been turning all of our lectures that we used to perform about theory into Markdowns.
So this is the second time when people say they use Markdown for making presentations. But how do you do that with the text? There's Beamer to make a PDF out of your a text document. How do you do this with Markdown? How do you actually make it into a presentation?
Well, Jupyter Notebooks is pretty easy for making marking.
We just have all of our materials on GitHub, and it just renders the markdown nicely, and you can follow along with GitHub. Yeah, we just scroll. I mean, it works well. Yeah, for some things it wouldn't be appropriate, but in class, yeah, it's fine.
It's also doing the same in the ISMB. We are transforming some of our courses into Markdown, also that use RStudio. And what is good also is that when you have classes, programs, and scripts, you can hide them. The students are challenged not to open the thing before they have tried themselves. The reaction to that compared to slides or to PowerPoint is they like very much the markdown presentation that we have compared to slides.
I like that aspect of asking the question of what code you would need to do this task, but hiding the answer code. Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, sure. Anybody using, there's a hand at the back, but anybody using Jupyter Notebooks or like within, because I'm hearing a lot about that usage.
So yeah, I used to teach a lot of workshops and also teach now classes at a university. And the class I'm teaching is now mainly based on GitHub. But there's certain limitations on GitHub Classroom. For instance, communication is difficult. So we use a tool, Piazza, in the US. It's relatively common. So you just sign up a class. It's something like Slack, but designed for classes. You just sign up your class and it's entirely free. And it gives students and the teachers an open forum to have private discussions and so forth. For other things like grading is a big issue when you teach openly, especially GitHub Classroom. So for me, then I go back and have a hybrid with Google Drive using spreadsheets, where I give students private access to the sheets, sometimes participating in gradings and other things, so we need privacy. So that goes directly off from the GitHub pages. I just have some links there. So on GitHub, I use then a website on GitHub, because you can run GitHub pages, websites, of course, is hosted there, so it's just like any customized website. And then all the private things like grading and so forth runs in some spreadsheets from Google Spreadsheets, which you can also automate, because you can feed in those into Python or R, and then it's a lot of time-consuming tasks that are simplified for the instructor. So that works pretty well. So it's like a combination of GitHub Classroom, Google, as well as Piazza.
The merge of different, I think everybody's doing this merge of different technologies.
You have to, I mentioned this there's Moodle, right, that does a lot of these things. You don't like it?
It's harder, yeah, as a instructor.
Well, I mean, the question is whether you duct tape other tools together, or you use one that does 80% or 90%. I think it's a bit of a, and it's relatively easy to use the grading and this kind of stuff if you have a Moodle environment set up, like I have luckily. And then, just throwing to GitHub in there or to GitHub IO is relatively easy. So you have all the communication forms and grading, as was mentioned, in this one platform, rather than, I think if you have to use one or two, then it's better than using 5.
I'm going to explore this Google Classroom because it seems to have maybe some of the same aspects as Moodle.
Google Classroom, another feature is that you can actually allow students to submit assignments, so you can actually create a folder for students to kind of submit, and then as each student kind of uploads into this Google Drive, you'll get notifications as well. So, and then for instance, if they submit code, you can actually see if the code runs in that drive. So, and then you can also post marks into to Google Classroom as well. But yeah, it's relatively new tool. I think it's kind of still in like beta testing. So there are like certain maybe small bugs in there, but give it a try.
So I have a question. People seem to be investing their time and effort into particular packages. And is there some compatibility? I mean, what happens when a certain tool stops getting developed? So it's free, everybody jumps on it, and then in 2 years there's no funding left for it, or the project disappears. So I don't know if people have faced that in their careers, investing in something that goes away.
I think the biggest waste of my time was switching between different technologies of making slides. And in the past, I always used LaTeX, but I was feeling I was too slow, and I also used I/O slides using markdowns. And I actually ended up going two routes: keep using LaTeX for the more long-term things and I/O slides in some cases, whatever looks better. And then for the quick things, I use Google Slides now. Because it works well, it's well supported, and I can just make slides in 5 minutes, a few of them, and that's an advantage. But for long-term things, like for a conference or so forth, then I rather use something more professional like LaTeX. It would be wonderful if there was a LaTeX, you mentioned it, but I don't think it is available. There's some LaTeX math code that we can import into Google Slides and Google Docs, but really to import LaTeX code into Google Slides, that would be a dream.
Yeah,
that would be a dream.
Right. Sorry, I've never tried it, so I didn't know if it worked or not.
Yeah.
Not yet.
And the reason why, one of the reasons why I use Google is because it's supported by the university, but also it's a huge open source thing. So you really feel like there is a lot of power behind it, maintaining it. Plus, there's a huge amount of add-ons that have been developed, that have some in-house. This year, I've been using it for ages. I've been using it for quizzes and so on, workshops, photo mapping, and that sort of stuff. But this year, we're using it for things like peer assessment as well. For a very large class, for students studying their assessment. It automatically gets allocated to all the students, marked, and the marking of the students get automatically marked and so on. There's also team evaluation tools for group work. Really useful stuff. If you like to use it, but maybe it's a bit of a
And I don't think there's any one particular technology that everybody should use. I think to me it's just very interesting to know what some other people you all are using, because I like poaching ideas and incorporating them into new aspects of things.
another thing to check out if you're interested, and it's a bit of a fun there because this was developed by former students that they've gone out to create a startup.
Around it.
And they're selling it. It's called Open Learn. Even though it's for open learning, it's actually not open source. But the focus of it is on social, is in learning the social media aspect. It's really good for large classes when students can post things like students can upload, download.
Yeah, I think that's why I was asking about Slack as well, is because you can vote for things and you can give it a thumbs up, or you can give it different emojis and stuff. Okay. Yes, please.
So the discussion about things like Moodle versus using, let's say, ad hoc open tools. One comment about sustainability is if there is a widely supported standard for material, like slides, then you know that there will be any new tool you can publish import because everybody will have the same problem. And the e-learning community has been developing standards for educational objects for the last 15, 20 years. So that's why Moodle is so good for assessment as well. So it would be nice if more of the GitHub driven tools supported some of the e-learning standards.
Right. And it may just be that GitHub was never developed to be for learning, and, you know, it just needs a little bit of a poke. Hey, you know, a lot of us are using it for these other aspects that it wasn't intended for. So maybe we can incorporate some different standards. Anyways, I think that's what's interesting about this space is that we're repurposing things that we never intended for what we're using them for. I think that's cool. Anything else that anybody would like to contribute? Okay. Just a reminder of the other activities in today. Today is a full education day, so at 12:45 there's Birds of a Feather discussing the COVID cozy. Then at 2 o'clock until I believe 6 o'clock is a curriculum competency workshop and update. And then at 6 o'clock is the ISCB Education Committee. So look for those events within the program, they're all there. And I don't think the education is within the location. Yeah. I can give you the location if you're interested in coming. But the education the education committee meeting is going to be in dressing room 248. Thank you for your participation today, and